think of Steven, my immediate thought is rock star.
If it wasn't for Steven and Ratt, who knows where I'd be today.
You know, not only will I always be grateful, you know, to have worked with Steven, I'm always grateful to have him as a friend.
We became bandmates in the mid-'70s, and we started a group called Crystal Pistol. He was the guy that could stay completely focused and on target, and a fearless leader, a selfless, fearless leader in bringing his boys across the finish line.
Something about Steven, he was different than the front men that I've been shooting, you know, at that time. He was a little more cocky and a little more, you know, he seemed like very confident. And, you know, he would just kind of, instead of jumping all over the place and running around like, you know, a lot of, you know, the other guys, he would just kind of like be cool and walk back and strut and kind of like point, and, you know, he would sometimes like, you know, look at my lens and kind of like kick his foot in it, and it was pretty cool. He gave me a lot of attention, which is really good when a photographer can relate to, you know, an artist, and you get a little interaction. Makes for a good photograph.
Back in 1980, 81, I met Steven. He was living in the garage of my neighbor, Dennis O'Neill. I'd come home from college, and my dad asked me what all the loud music was coming from the house. So I said, I'll go check. So I knocked on the door. Dennis said, oh, it's just Steven. He's rehearsing. Go knock on the door. He's pretty cool. So I did. And I thought, wow, rock band next door. This is going to be pretty cool. Decades later, Steven confessed to me that he thought the bumpy Korean grass we had in our front yard was pretty cool. And after a gig, he came home and made out with some girl on the front lawn. Go figure.
Steven and I met in 1996 on with a group called Vertex. Al Petrelli, I think it was Hero, and Steven and myself were put together by a Japanese label, and we did this tour. It was crazy. In 1996, you know, we were out with like Manowar or one of those bands, and Steven and I met, and we just clicked right out of the gate.
I met Steven in 1988, 87, somewhere in Germany. We were playing the Monsters of Rock Festival, and we just hit it off right off the bat. And then after the show, we decided we're gonna go out and just get into some trouble and have some fun and maybe grab some dinner. 7:30 comes around. I get a knock on the door. I go to open it just a little bit. The door gets kicked in. All of a sudden, everything is white, and there's like it's a fire extinguisher, and it's going crazy. I don't know what's happening, and then it starts to clear. I've got it everywhere. It's all over everything that I own, and it starts to clear, and there's Steven, and he's laughing hysterically, and now I'm laughing hysterically, a little bit scared. But we go running out of my room, and there's like 100 yards of footsteps in this white stuff that we take out across the room. And that was really how we went out for the first night. The next morning, when I was at the airport, Ratt was there, we were there, and the tour manager came up to me, very angry. Where's Steven? I know you guys went out last night. I probably had the little white stuff still on my eyelashes. And he said, where is he? And I said, I don't know. Of course I did know, but I couldn't tell him.
He brought me into Ratt, and we recorded the Collage album in 1997 together. That was kind of like my first introduction into the band and everything. And not long after that, we were out on the road. And, you know, fast forward all those years, 16 years I was in Ratt. It was just such a great experience hanging out with Steven, and you know, we just became really good friends and very close. And man, I had my kids in that band, and we were part of, that whole experience together,
He missed his flight. He didn't even show up. And we all flew back, and Ratt was mad at me, but they understand how Steven is, and we all got over it, and we had a good laugh about it. And that is how I met Steven.
A very identifiable voice. It's incredibly rare that you hear somebody sing and you know immediately who that person is singing.
It's a very cool thing. See, Steven and I met in 76. So let's do the math here, if I can.
We've had some great times over the decades. We still do. We still talk all the time. And, you know, I love the band. I love the records. I think they hold up incredibly well. And I think, I've always felt, and I've said this to Steven, and I've always felt that Ratt should occupy a higher space in the current rock landscape. I think that they are one of the truly great bands to come out of the 80s and right up there with the top 3, 4, 5 bands to come out of that decade in the world of hard rock.
I've had a lot of great opportunities, worked with a lot of great artists, and had a lot of doors open up because of that first shot that was given to me by Steven and Ratt. And I'll forever be grateful to them.
And we did 2 records until the second record. Steven did what kind of we all wanted to do our whole careers with record company guys, but we were playing some show and we walked to the VIP lounge afterwards and we see Steven with the A&R guy in a headlock, and he was like, "Tell us how much you suck. Tell us how much you..." And the guy was like, "Yeah, we suck. And Steven thought it was funny, and we knew what was going to happen. And the next day we got the call, "Hey, you guys have been dropped." So that's how that happened.
There was not a gig every night, so eventually he got a job over at Tower Records in Marina Del Rey, and at least he had some money coming in until a paying gig. One day, however, he called me and said, "Hey, could you bring over some toilet paper? I'm not working at Tower Records anymore, and I have no money left." So I picked up some food and some toilet paper for him, and he's been generous and grateful ever since.
1976, I was on my way to Apex Music Store in San Diego on Convoy Street, where there was a warehouse record store also. In the parking lot there, lo and behold, there was Steven Pearcy. He had his band Mickey Ratt set up, and they were getting ready to play. They played Immigrant Song, and I was shocked how good the bass player was. It was Tim Garcia, who was playing the bass line in Immigrant Song perfectly, and I couldn't do that at the time because I was 14. Anyway, later on, I would move to Los Angeles with Jake E. Lee, who was in Ozzy Osbourne, later become Ozzy Osbourne, and we moved up to a house in Van Nuys. He immediately joined Ratt at the time, and they were playing Gazaris, and their bass player had just left, so he invited me in. And Steven used to make these little cassette tapes, and it would be him playing guitar. It'd be like Never Use Love, In Your Direction, what have you. And you'd have to learn the songs via his little cassette tape. And there was no bass or anything on them. It was just him playing guitar. And the next day I walked up to Mrs. O'Neill's house that was in Culver City. And there was a little garage there that Ratt would rehearse in. I walked in, put on my bass, played the songs. The next day we were playing a gig. And I've been friends with Steven ever since.
Still to this day, the Ratt Bastards are locked on. They are hardworking, awesome players, and still bring a great show to this day. And I have to lend that to Steven Pearcy. He is the man. He is the man with the vision and the understanding and the perseverance. That's what we call it, perseverance, to know what he's seeing and go and achieve the goals that he had set forth in his life.
It's a great thing to see a guy like Steven, who's a pioneer in the genre of music, and great songwriter, and just a true blue musician. Writes his own songs, sings his own songs. He has that unique tone to his voice that most people don't have, and it's a great thing, man.
We show up at his front door, right, and peeks out the front, opens the door and says, "You guys want something to drink? All I've got is whiskey." And we're like, "Okay, that's cool." It's just funnier and shit, though, It's like, all I've got's whiskey.
Steven's always been, whenever I asked him to do something, this is like almost 40 years later since I first shot him in 1984. And, we're all doing stuff now, podcasts and video Zooms, to promote each other's things, books, records, tours, so we help each other out. Back in the day, there was a lot of money flying around from record companies, a lot of budgets for photo shoots and tours and merch and the whole deal. Now it's everyone's trying to help everyone a little bit, and Steven always came to bat for me.
It's good that he keeps the Ratt and roll going and alive and well for all of us that love it so much.
Hi, I'm Christy Adair, aka Miss Truth Adair. I'm engaged to Steven Pearcy, and together we run Top Fuel Entertainment, which is the business of all things Steven Pearcy. I guess you could say I come from a showbiz family. My grandpa, Tom Adair, was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2010, most notably for his work with Frank Sinatra. And they worked together for, I think, 5 decades, and a lot of beautiful music came out of that relationship. He was also a writer for the original Mickey Mouse Club, as well as several 60s sitcoms, The Munsters, I Dream of Jeannie, My Three Sons, My Favorite Martian, the list goes on. I then worked in classic radio for 13 years and also real estate acquisition. So I think all of those combined experiences well prepared me for the work that Steven and I do together every day. He's the love of my life and an extraordinarily brilliant business partner, and we have a lot of fun together. So it was important for us to integrate our work because time is precious and we want to enjoy every minute of it.
Every day I am grateful. I mean, look, been there, done it many times. It's, as far as I'm concerned, I live by my own rules, and fortunate to have a partner that feels the same way. We live and do as we please. We don't bother anybody. We take care of business, and we like where we're going. We are now at John Turner, the original drummer of Mickey Ratt. This boy hung it out with me during the San Diego years, 76, till we moved to LA in 1980, and then some. Played in Mickey Ratt as it turned into Ratt with Jakey Lee, Matt Thorne, myself as a 4-piece. I played guitar and sang, and John was our drummer.
My name is John Turner. We are in Bay Park, San Diego, home of the Ratt. Met Steven right around October of '79. I was playing in this one band, and Steve came to watch us play down the street, as a matter of fact, for a party. And they were asking, "Hey, how'd you like the band?" And he goes, "Well, the band's okay, but I like your drummer." And what's interesting is because I've been following Mickey Ratt around for quite a bit, and seeing the different changes that they were going through. I thought they were one of the coolest bands in the San Diego area at that time. And right around mid-October, they were looking for another drummer. A friend of mine threw my name out to Steven and worked out an audition. And we practiced up in this old storage unit in Miramar for about a week straight. And it was a lot of fun. The practicing was a lot of fun, just hanging out with the guys. And a couple days later, Steven said, "All right, man, you're in. But we're going to be moving to LA in 1980. Are you willing to make that move?" What are you going to do? Say no? We did, I think, only one show before we moved up to Los Angeles, and that was down at Expressions Park down in Pacific Beach. And we moved up January 1st, 1980. We packed up our stuff, and next thing you know, we're in Culver City. The transition between Mickey Ratt and Ratt, see, that's a real interesting thing, because the name Mickey Ratt was so dang cool. And the character from the comic book series, and it was just, it was something that was very cool. However, I believe Steven started getting letters from the copyright people of Mickey Ratt, And he's going, you know, we got to change the name. And he goes to me, and I love the band Kiss. And Steven comes up and goes, John, it'll be like Kiss. Ratt, it'll be just like Kiss. And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know. And I was a little hesitant on it. And then we just ended up making the move gradually because we still had a large following with Mickey Ratt. And so we were just doing introductions like Ratt, even though we were still billed as Mickey Ratt for a little bit. We moved to LA, you know, we're driving our cars up there, and again, Chris and I, we don't know what to expect. So we move our stuff, and then we're in this garage. It's a detached car garage in the middle of winter. Now, granted, it's not New York, but dang, does it get cold in Culver City in the middle of winter.
We were committed. We didn't give a shit if we had to sleep on a cot and whatever. And then John and I would also, you know, do the flyers, and I mean, we would do anything and everything to get that band noticed. I mean, I would like go to get a gig at the Troubadour. I'd have to go to Doug Weston's house, so I was like the per se agent dude, and we would go all over the place and just drop them a CD or that single we had made in 1980. We would like go to like any club, any place, and drop off, we're Mickey Ratt, we want to play it, we're Mickey, and most of the time he said no. Until we just persisted, just bam, 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 and then I actually one of the places, they literally went, okay, you can play. And I think that was Gazzari's.
We would stick so many flyers up there. It was just get the name out there, get it out there, play anywhere. And that's what we would have done. If there was 2 people in the room, 1 person in the room, or whether there were 1,000 people there, we would just go out and play and just try to build up a following. Do it the hard way and just bang it out.
When we literally started playing Culver City, I mean, our first shows, they were like literally nobody there. Nobody was at our gigs, but we didn't care. But the best thing was when our name came out in the newspaper, it was like the Jerk. It was like, we're in the paper, Mickey Ratt, see? And then it was like, yes, we're there, we're getting there, you know, and that's all we wanted was to have the name in the fucking paper.
You're building the name from scratch, and then you're building a following. And, you know, building the following, we ended up meeting so many cool people. And to date, there are lifelong friends from before the band was even close to being famous. You know, there was just like so many people that were just there to help us out, that just liked the band. Yeah. Not just the music, but the goodness of the people inside. That's kind of cool as well.